Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3 and Category 4.
Kokkonen is the rider in this Category 2 race who now takes up the mantle and pushes on here. She's kicking at 4 watts per kilo to go clear of this pack. Antico, Kubita, Fioroni, Varco, Ribaldo, all trying to put a breakaway together here at around 13.5 kilometres of this race. Now, have they forgotten there's a Category 3 climb coming at the end? This race pack, around 19 riders at the lead of this Category 1 race field, and we've seen riders try and go off the front, but all of them have been brought back and no one's been allowed clear. Our Category 2 race field now coming into the bottom of that final climb. They are about to see the gradient kick and kick really hard as 7% goes under their wheels. Antico and Fioroni have fought each other all the way today in this 35-kilometre race, and they are fighting each other until the finish spanner as Fioroni pushes. Fioroni is going to take the win today. Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We are here for qualifier race number 3 for the 16th of April, and it was a great race last week in qualifier 2, but we are looking forward to a different course and some more fast and furious racing today. My name is Emma Martin. I am going to be bringing you all of the action today. So last week there was an epic climb to finish. This week we are in Australia, and the women's race today, 35 kilometres with an elevation of 503 metres, and now that comes in 2 Category 4 climbs. Now, these Category 4 climbs is a double hit because the average gradient may be 4.5% over the 2.4 kilometre distance, but there are 2 climbs with a dip and in the middle. So the first climb of Mount Pleasant kicks steep to around 10%, but that second part after the dip kicks to gradients of over 17% in places. So an absolutely brutal climb today. Now, the rest of the course is not flat. The rest of the course, it is continually rolling with a large amount of short, sharp kicks in between those 2 ascents of Mount Pleasant. Now, the run in to the checkered flag is 6.2 kilometres from the top of Mount Pleasant for the second time, and it is a flat run in and then a kick up and over the bridge until our riders see that checkered flag today. Now, historically, we have seen sprint finishes from the women on this course, with Category 1 catching the Category 2 pack near enough on the line and bringing us a fast and furious finish. It's going to be really interesting today to see what happens with the racing. So looking forward to some fast and furious racing and some great finishes today. Our Category 1 riders are in the yellow jerseys on the left-hand side of your screen till 17 minutes until they are underway. Our Category 2 riders in the green jerseys, just shy of 12 minutes on the clock. Category 3 riders in the blue jerseys, you can see 6 minutes 45, and our red jersey wearers are Category 4 riders. These are going to be our first race field to start in just over 1 minute and 30 seconds. So the 4 race categories today, each with 5 minutes between them. So Category 4 race field will start first, 5 minutes later Category 3, 5 minutes later Category 2, 5 minutes later our final race category, Category 1, will be underway. Now, our first field underway today, the red jersey wearing Category 4 field. Now, Just because it's category 4 does not mean it's not competitive. We have one team today represented by Pablo, and that is the UWU Kawais. But 15 riders on the start sheets today, and we've seen 6 riders so far this month take top 5 positions. Now, last week's results not yet verified, but qualifier round number 1 is. And in qualifier round number 1, it was Agudelo from Gonzalez, from Tanningen, from Gallego, and from Vink. So a large number of riders on form at the moment, and some great racing in category 4. So in with Madeira on the start line as the riders continue to spin their legs, keep their warm-ups fresh, and await the final 10-second countdown. So as the clock ticks down, the power goes up, and away go our category 4 riders on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It is qualifier race number 3, and category 4 are out of the pens, and they are away. So Pablo leading this group out with de Guzman as well at the moment. So Pablo pulling the group forward at the front, and a good strong pace being set at the moment from the front of this race field, getting these riders underway. This is actually, viewers, the flattest part of the Wollongong course today. This start section is the only flat part, and shortly, not very long, you can already see on the top right hand corner of your screen that view that looks like a satellite navigation system for your car. You can see that first kick coming, and that first kick on that course about to be approached by these riders. So let's have a quick look at our screen, shall we? That top right hand corner of your screen, the group are the Green Diamond at the moment. So coming up, you can see the profile of the course in front of them, and you can see the road layout of the course in front of the riders as well. On the top left hand corner of your screen, you can see the individual rider stats for the rider we are currently following. So we are currently in with Manolin Pablo, currently at 130 watts and in green, indicating that the rider is in the draft. When the watt numbers are in black, it indicates that the rider's wheel is out front and there is no draft available. So currently 64 revs per minute, cadence at the moment, really turning a hard gear at the moment, a slow cadence from Pablo, with that heart rate of 129. We've also got the speed currently at 27 kilometers per hour. The time travelled, so just shy of 2 minutes this race has been underway, and the distance at just over 1 kilometre. Now, the final thing on your screen, on the bottom right hand corner of your screen, you can see the list of riders' names, and currently Madeira is highlighted in purple, indicating that that is the rider we are watching at the moment. You will see riders, in fact de Guzman has just lit up in that amber yellow colour, indicating just pushing on the pedals a little bit harder and moving up through the power. In fact, when riders really go hard, you'll see a flash of red come up across their name. So as our category 4 group head out now as a pack across the bridge, shortly you will start to see the gradient go up under their wheels, because this is the first climb on the Wollongong course from the start pen. And from the start pen, it's a pretty much a flat first kilometre before they hit this gradient, and this gradient does kick. It's a nasty little kick to start with, currently just shy of 6% as we start to see this field have to work. So they came out of the start pen all together. They are still all together, and this category 4 group just spreading now as they come up this climb on this bridge and head into the city. So just a bit of a spread now, but it's Pablo on the front here. Pablo was the rider who took the win last week in this category 4 race, but joined here by a number of other riders. So Geraldo is in here as well as Barco Ossa, and these riders just stretching this out now. 1, 2, 3, 4 second gaps starting to appear in this group. So as the riders go over the brow of this little kicker climb, we can see on the left-hand side of your screen our Category 3 riders down in the pens awaiting their start. So our Category 3 race filled with less than a minute to go until their start. We have some class riders in this category as well, and we often see great racing and great attacking. In fact, last week, phenomenal attacking in the Category 3 race. So Team Golden Light represented by Golden Light today, the only team on the start sheets, but 14 riders in this category today. So it was indeed fast and furious attacking last week. Fioroni, Antico, Higuita, Barco, Arrayas. It just kept coming and coming and coming, and a furious and fast race. What will Category 3 bring us today? So while Category 4 continue to ride as a group on the road, Category 3 are in the start pens counting down. So in with Quintero as this group move out of the start pens. Category 3 race field is underway, and the riders look as though they are all out cleanly from the start pen as they move out and onto the course proper. So as the riders head into downtown Wollongong, our Category 3 riders picking up the pace and the momentum out of that start gate, moving through and moving up, currently sat at 42 kph. So the riders really moving well, led by Ochoa out of the start pen today. So Fioroni, Antico, Barco, Higuita, Jose Zabala, Lenore, all in here at the moment, all riding and riding strongly. Al-Mansouri tier 2 as we flick through these riders in this Category 3 race and get a good view of this bunch. So it's Alessia Antico on the front of the group at the moment, and these riders all coming out and coming out cleanly, all still in one strong group as they are about to sweep round this left-hand bend. And viewers today, let's take a look how many kangaroos you can spot on the course today. I know if I was in that pack, I would be doing a little bit of counting. So as this Category 3 race swing round this left-hand corner, we can see one rider just disengaged from the back of that group at the moment. So one rider just sliding off the back there and getting caught out there from this main group. So Jose Zabala is the rider with Al-Mansouri leading this group out. Nice, steady, comfortable pace for these Category 3 riders at the moment as they start to engage onto the bridge to cross the water. So whilst our Category 3 pack head out onto the bridge, our Category 4 riders further downtown have seen an attack go off the front. It's Pablo who's bringing the action today from this group, but she's not going clear because it is indeed Agudelo who is bringing the group back with Madeira as well, putting a little bit of a push on those pedals to make sure that it is one group and one group on the road for Category 4. Now, number of riders just slightly further back. In fact, that 2-second gap is actually from Pablo to the back of that group because that group is stretching a little bit. The gradient is starting to kick up under the wheels of these Category 4 riders, and Pablo and Barco also are the two riders side by side at the front of that group. We then have Agudelo and Madeira, followed by Vink and Geraldo just a couple of seconds back. As we mentioned earlier on, this course is not flat. The flattest section is the section out of that start pen, and then it is just constantly undulating, constantly rolling with very little flat. And that really the riders need to pay attention to, because the constantly changing pace, the constantly changing gradient really has an impact on this race. And impact on this race we can see from this category 3 race field. So they have gone across the water, they've gone across that bridge, they've gone up that first climb, and that first climb has really stretched this group. This group are not just stretched, there are now gaps and small groups formed. So Higuita, Antico, Barco. We've also got Agudelo Arrayas in here, Ribaldo, and then a gap to Light, Ochoa, Jose Zabala, and we've also got Gonzalez in there as well. So little gaps now starting to form, and I think these little groups are going to start to come back together again, but we are not going to see the size of the group that we originally saw coming out of the start pen in that Category 3 race. Now, sat in the start pen is our Category 2 race fields. They are the next riders out onto the course. So one team today wearing these jerseys, and that is Paw Patrol. Now, we don't have a team competition this week. That is indeed for the final next week. But Paw Patrol, represented by Tan, Hadlock and Kokkonen, all 3 strong riders. Now 20 riders in total on the start sheets, and Sinelli, Parra, Pardini, Sanchez, Reynard are all in here today. So looking like it's being set up for a great race. So as the final seconds count down, we're in with Veronica Pardini as she pushes on those pedals, and away the Category 2 race field go. They are away out and onto the Wollongong course for qualifier race number 3 in April's Sunday Race Club. So the pack moving well out of the start pen all together at the moment and pushing on, raising their momentum to over 40 kilometers per hour at the moment. As we mentioned, this is the flattest section of the course, and one that enables the pack to get up to speed and get up to speed quickly out of that start pen. So Angie Parra, one of our strong riders here. Parra regularly seen on attack in this category. So Santiago is in here, Tijeros, Corona, Parra, Olsen, Hermassen is in here as well, Sinelli too, and Tanningen, as well as Reynard. So some really strong riders, and this Category 2 race field has given us some fantastic racing and some real attacking racing. In fact, it's Hadlock here who is just stretching off the front. She's not put in a sprint effort to go clear, but she's setting her intentions at the moment by putting on a stronger push on those pedals, just shy of between 3.5 and 4 watts per kilo at the moment, just ensuring that that group do not sit on their laurels. So Hadlock, Sanchez, Reynard, Tanglian, Hermassen, all pushing on here. Van der Velden is in here too, and of course we've got both Sanchez's represented today, Manuela Sanchez and Jenny Sanchez, both strong riders. Often it's Jenny Sanchez we see make those early attacks and push on, but not today. It is Hadlock today. She is the rider who is pushing on as she comes into what she knows as the first climb on this course for these Category 2 riders. So Hadlock, Tanglian, Kokkonen, Jenny Sanchez and Tijeros are all towards the front here. Now Hadlock's got around a 5-second gap now on the group, and the group now just starting to look as though they're paying attention, because Kokkonen has just started to sit up and actually push and realise that Hadlock's gap is now 5 seconds. So Hadlock 5 seconds clear of the chasing group. Tijeros comes to the front. This is an early break from Hadlock, knowing that she's going into this climb. Now maybe just wants to stretch and test her legs a bit and finish her warm-up. But whilst our Category 2 riders are facing that climb, our Category 3 riders now at 4.25 kilometres down the road, our Category 4 riders at 6.5 kilometres travelled. So our Category 1 riders are our riders sat waiting in the start pen at the moment, just under 2 minutes to go, as we see our Category 2 riders go up and over that first climb. Now Hadlock has not been brought back, she still is out front, and we're seeing 1 or 2 riders just drop off the back of the group. inset screen on the top right hand corner of your screen, giving you a really clear indication of what is happening in the race and how tight the group is and what the stretches. You can see Hadlock just going under that yellow banner in front of the group. Now that will be our finish banner once the women have done 2 full laps of the Wollongong City route. So they have already experienced what will be the finish today, coming over that bridge and kicking up onto that climb before the finish banner. It's a sneaky finish with a fast run into the final climb and the steep kick that we see there before coming over the brow of the hill and on to the finishing banner. So Pardini is in here just stretching this group out, trying to bring Hadlock back now. But some clearer intention from the group to bring our lone leader back into the fold. So with less than a minute now on that start banner, our Category 1 riders are ready and waiting to go. So we've got 2 teams in here today. We've got Crank Sisters and one team in here today. Crank Sisters, 2 riders represented by Jojo Bauer and Gemma Brogan. Both riders we would expect to be riding strong and at the front of the pack. So 31 riders in the yellow jerseys today on the start sheets and some strong riders in here. So Kelly Sakamoto, Catherine Fua, Jacina Menenzes. We've got Chiara Donny in here. We've got Mandana Manshandi. As these riders head out under the start banner, they are away on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club Qualifier Race number 3. So our Category 1 riders are away on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. They are pushing on and fast and hard out of the start pen as the speedometer nearly hit 50 kph there. We're seeing this group move and this group move hard out of the start pen. So we're in with Jojo Bauer as the leading group in this Category 1 race, push and pull away from each other on this fast, flat start. We can see the riders spread over the back of the road there. Now, just a quick reminder, all new riders, all new riders go into Category 1 to start with until their data has been analysed and verified before they can be allocated to the correct category. So all riders starting in Category 1. So it is Jacina Menenzes who is pulling at the front here. She's pushing on at around 5 watts per kilo to ensure this pack move, and they move strongly on this start today. So Menenzes absolutely adamant, laying down the banner, but just sitting up a little now after that push on the start today. So it's Jojo Bauer coming across to Menenzes. Fua is there as well with Biarhead and Sakamoto. This group all coming back together again here, and it's going to be interesting to see the numbers in this group. It's a large group of Category 1 riders in this part of the course at the moment, but we are about to come around the corner and on to the bridge and that first climb on this Wollongong course today. So we've seen that climb stretch the other race categories. Is it going to stretch this race field too? So 35 kilometres of racing today for these women on the Sunday Race Club, 503 metres of elevation on this course in Australia. Now 2 main climbs today, both on the Mount Pleasant climb on the Wollongong course. It's a Category 4 climb, and for those of you who haven't ridden it, it's a nasty steep climb. It has 2 parts to it. A first pre-climb, I'm going to call it today, hitting around 10% in gradient, a descent, and then the main climb with gradients topping 17%. Now, we've seen a little push on in the Category 1 field. In the Category 2 field, Hadlock is being joined by Kekkonen. So Hadlock, our early leader in this Category 2 race, now being joined by Novelin Kekkonen. 5 seconds back now from these 2 riders, 2 Tijeros, Olsen and Pardini. The riders leading the bunch, and this is a good move by Kekkonen because Kekkonen and Hadlock could indeed work together here to stay out front of this group, and it's going to be really interesting to see them and to see them try. Now, a little bit further down the road, on the right hand side of your screen is our category 4 race field, currently at 9.4 kilometres. Our category 3 race field 2 kilometres behind them at 7.4 kilometres travel. So 2 kilometres separating our category 3 and category 4 race field. Now, our category 2 race field leaders 2.5 kilometres behind our category 3 race field, and our category 1 pack looking like they're about 2.8 kilometres behind that category 2 leader, Hadlock, who has gone clear of that pack. So we are in with Hadlock at the moment. Hadlock had been joined by Kekkonen, but now that group is all coming back together again. So Pardini, Reynard, Hermessen, Hadlock, Kekkonen, Van der Velden, all coming back together again. So that group of category 2 riders now pulling to sweep round this right-hand corner. And as they sweep round this right-hand corner, they are going to come onto the back of the category 3 race field. So the blue jersey wearing category 3 rider, category 2 race field now sweeping and sweeping straight past that rider, and that was Quintero. Now not able to jump on to this group. This group are moving fairly strongly, around 3.2 watts per kilo coming out of this group at the moment. So this is a good pace for our category 2 race field. This is a pace our category 2 race field should be ticking along at through Wollongong. So back in with our category 1 race field, continuing to move and just bringing that gap down a little, ticking a little bit off as we continue to move through. So Jojo Bauer is the rider on the front of this category 1 race field. She's got Gemma Brogan for company, Kelly Sakamoto, Jacina Menendez, Rosario Del Rocco. These riders all moving through and off in this pack and exchanging places regularly, indicating all roughly putting out the same power. So a nice steady rotation for this group of this category 1 riders here as they sweep round this right hand bend. Bauer is the rider leading them out. It's a strong steady pace and allowing the momentum to remain strong here for this group of riders. So just seeing another little kick here from the undulations through this Wollongong course for the women in the category 1 race field. Leaders on the road at the moment, now on the first ascent of Mount Pleasant. So the first ascent of Mount Pleasant comes at 9.7 kilometres into the course, and we can see our category 4 field now on this climb. They're on the first part of this climb. You can see very, very clearly on that top right hand corner of your screen the 2 parts to the climb, and it's Barco Ossa leading out this category 4 race. So as Barco Ossa leads out this category 4 race, it's Manolin Pablo in 2. It is Agudelo in 3. In fact, it is Barco Ossa just going to the front of Pablo here as these riders come up and over the first part of this Mount Pleasant climb, and the descent down to the second part, really stretching that race field. It literally goes from 9% climb to 9% descent in a fraction of a second, stretching that race field. If you are not on that wheel, and it is the same on the second part of the climb, if you are not in that wheel when that gradient changes, the riders are going to go away from you. So back in with the category 1 race, it's Cavachal who has pushed on. She's pushed on hard, and a small gap now back to Menendez, 4 or 5 seconds at the moment, and these undulations lending themselves to a number of attacks today. These group not content to sit and ride into Mount Pleasant at just over 9 kilometres on this race course, continuing to attack and continuing to stretch the legs, because this is a well-matched group actually. It's a really well-matched field today with some very strong riders, and whittling this group down is going to be absolutely key for those riders who want a top 5 placing. So BR Head is in the group. Brogan, Sakamoto, Fua, Quevedo, Manshandi, Del Rocco, Ortiz is in here as well. These riders riding strongly and working together to pull our lone leader back as the gradient just kicks again. As we mentioned earlier, it is a constantly rolling course and the gradients are steep and short and nasty, currently at 7.2%, just starting the descent now as they go up and over the top of this little bump here, continuing gradient changes as we see these riders work their way through this Wollongong course. So it's Sakamoto who has come across the Cavajal as in this category 1 race. Can she make it over and onto the wheel? It's Menendez who is bringing up the rear here and bringing up the group, but Cavajal just pushing on again and indeed maintaining this gap now at around 2 seconds. So whilst the Category 1 race field are looking at pulling back in the lone leader, further down the road we have the Category 3 race field now starting their first ascent of Mount Pleasant. So they are up and onto the first part of the climb. In fact, the leaders of this Category 3 race are now on the descent between the two parts of the climb of Mount Pleasant. It's Antico here who is doing the damage at the front. Ribaudo is in 2, Higuita in 3, Fioroni in 4. These are the riders we would expect to see here. These are the strong riders in this Category 3 race field as Ribaudo moves through. 2-second gap now back to Higuita as we turn the corner, and you can see the second part of the climb rising in front of Ribaudo. It comes steep after that downhill section, and the steepest section is left for the top. So Ribaudo now starting on the second part of that climb as we can see our Category 4 riders a little bit further up the road, just 500 metres up the road, but that is 500 metres of a very steep climb. They are further up this climb. Now, Barco Ossa is the rider leading that Category 4 race, but hot on her heels are indeed Gonzalez, Pablo, and it looks like Agudelo is in there as well. So it looks like we've got Barco Ossa out front, and then we've got a chase group here in this Category 4 race, and we do indeed. So it is indeed Barco Ossa out front with a lead of around 7 seconds, and we've got Gonzalez, we've got Agudelo, we've got Pablo as a 3-woman chase group. We've then got Tandingen 11 seconds further back, and these riders then get split across the race field with gaps across this field. So Barco Ossa in 1, Agudelo, Gonzalez and Pablo chasing. These numbers are strong and these women are pushing hard. They do not want to let Barco Ossa go. They would much rather this was a 4-woman breakaway than a lone leader. So back in the Category 2 race field, you can just see what is coming up for these riders. So it is a large group of Category 2 riders coming into Mount Pleasant, and you can see the gradient shifting and the gradient changing ahead of them, as it is Sinelli who comes to the front with Carana and Santiago. These riders all fighting now for the front of this pack, and all starting to kick because the action is about to happen underneath these riders' wheels. So Berrios, Cerner, Hadlock, Olsen, Pardini, Tejeros, Reynard, all in here and all fighting for the lead of this Category 2 race. They are up onto the first part of the Mount Pleasant climb. The gradient is nearly 10%, and in front of them they are going to see the back markers of the Category 4 race field. It's motivation to continue to pass riders even if they're not in your race category, particularly on the climb. Ticking each rider off and moving past them, added motivation for our riders today. So Berrios, Cerner is in here, Hadlock, Olsen, Kokkonen, Reynard, Sinelli, Pardini is here too. It's a strong group of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Category 2 riders at the moment going up this first part of this Category 4 climb today. Now, This is the first ascent of this category for climb riders. We'll see this again. Now, from the top of this climb to the bottom of the next time up it is just shy of 14 kilometers to transition between the two climbs. So our category 2 riders, this group is up and over the first part of the climb and now descending to the steeper sections of the Mount Pleasant climb, but this group all still together, though riders having to push hard on this downhill section to gain the momentum to allow them to snowball. Riding strongly, Hadlock is the rider following the momentum from that downhill section, now being used to transition into the second part of the climb as our category 2 riders now start going past the category 3 back markers as well as the category 4 riders, which they have already seen. So the steeper sections now coming under these category 2 riders' wheels. It's currently at 15%, heading towards 16%, touching 17%, as we see the steepness impacting on these riders, but it's impacting on the power they're putting down because those numbers are flashing red. We're seeing 7 watts per kilo from Reynard. Sanchez is there as well. Van der Velden, Olsen, Santiago, Sinelli. They are all here and working strongly together. This is such a closely matched race field, this category 2 race field. These women week in, week out are so closely matched. It is one of the most competitive race fields. This climb continues to push for these category 2 riders. Our category 1 riders are not even on the foothills of the climb yet. They have this all to come, and that climb is going to separate our category 1 and our category 2 race fields. So at 9.25 kilometres, it is our category 1 race field. They've still got a little way to go before they see the foothills of Mount Pleasant and they start on that climb. Our category 2 riders will be near enough up and over that climb before our category 1 race field is there. So around 15 riders in this leading category 1 group at the moment. Jojo Bauer is in it. Now this is a good course for Bauer. Bauer has always done well here. Really strong on the Mount Pleasant climb. She really suits those steep sections of climbing. It is quite a short climb at 2.4 kilometres with some very steep sections, and it is the type of climb that suits Bauer. Now, it's going to be really interesting to see what she does today. Biarhead is in here as well, so is Del Rocchio, as well as Estrada and Menendez. So some strong competition in here. They can now see that climb ahead of them and the gradient about to kick up. So as the gradient kicks up underneath our category 1 riders' wheels, they start to see the back markers in the other races. We've seen back markers in the category 3 race field, them go past. There's a category 2 rider just up ahead, and in fact that looks like it's Tanglian. So she was in the hunt early on in the race, and she was in the pack early on, but now the category 1 field go past her. In fact, she's not able to stay, and this is a difficult part of the course to get caught because it is just not possible to stay with the faster riders. The power that they can put out on this climb, these category 1 riders are other categories not able to stay with them like they would if they were on the flatlands when they come past. So as the climb starts just shy of 10% at the moment, our riders lit up in red on that right-hand bottom corner screen at the moment. Estrada is the rider we are in with at the moment, and she is towards the back of that group with Brogan, not yet ready to put an attack in, but the red numbers coming out further up that pack. So this group riding the early sections of this climb all together, no one wanting to push on though. Sakamoto now kicking and kicking hard, but interestingly she's kicked hard over the top of that climb now. Really clever from Sakamoto, because that kick will allow her to get the momentum of the downhill really fast. So look at the gap she has put in so quickly there. Now that kick over the top allowed the momentum and the pace to get high early on the downhill, and for that to just continue. So Menezes has also picked up on that technique, and in fact Menezes kicking later, about to snowball over the top of Sakamoto as these two sweep round the corner and attack going into the bottom of this next section of the Mount Pleasant climb. So Sakamoto is here, the whole group snowballing back, and that is what the momentum is all about on the downhill. Sakamoto kicked early and she put a big gap in, but the rest of the group kicked later, and that momentum has allowed them to snowball back to Sakamoto and then start to go past her on the early stages of the next part of the climb. Now further down the road at shy of 16 kilometers, we're in with the category 3 race. Ribaudo is there with Antico and Higuita. Fioroni is there too. In fact, it's looking like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 riders clear now in this category 3 race. So a leading group 4 in this category 3 race, 28-30 seconds back. They are now working their way into the top 10 on the road. So our category 3 riders working their way through the category 4 race field now, coming up into the bottom of the top 10 on the road. Just going past Giraldo. Giraldo, I think, going to attempt to stay here. And you can just see now on the right-hand corner of your screen, we've got the leaders in that category 4 race. They are around 700 metres down the road. So 700 metres now separating the front of the category 3 pack from the front of the category 4 pack. Front of that category 4 race, it is Pablo there with 4 riders. So that is a lead group of 5. At just shy of 15 kilometres, we have still got a lead group in the category 2 race, whereas our category 1 riders are still on that Mount Pleasant climb. They are on that climb, and it's looking like Menezes has put an attack in on that climb. So we've got Menezes clear at the moment from Estrada, from Brogan. So Brogan climbing strongly. Not a huge gap of distance between these riders at the moment. Still a little way to go on the climb. Menezes pushing at her own pace. Estrada in 2. Quevedo coming through. Brogan is there. So is Sakamoto and Biarhead. Cavachal is there too, but a little bit further back. So these riders strung a little bit over this road, around 8 seconds separating the front of this category 1 field from the back. So our category 1 riders are coming towards the top of this climb now, and Furam Bauer are going to have to push on just a little bit of a squeeze on the pedals to bring that group back together, so that when it goes over the top, the stretch does not become too far and they don't get distance and get caught napping. But Menezes is the rider leading this group over the top of the climb. Now there is a little bit of a false flat because the riders do drop down and then it does kick a little again before the main part of the descent, but Menezes is the rider leading this group over. Sakamoto in 2, Quevedo in 3, Brogan in 4, Estrada in 5. So as our category 1 riders go over the top of Mount Pleasant, they drop down, and then there is a small kicker here where you can see them all coming back together again. We've got a rider just off the back there as this group come together at the front. So one rider just hanging a little off the back, and I think that is looking like that may be Bauer. Actually, it's 2 riders, and it's Fua and Bauer together. So Jojo Bauer and Catherine Fua, the 2 riders, just around 6 or 7 seconds back from the leading group in that category 1 race. That is stretching a little bit at the moment, but these are 2 class riders. I cannot see these 2 riders not getting back on to that group. as long as I haven't jinxed them now, and they do make that catch. We are looking at Biarhead at the moment, also in no man's land. So Biarhead currently caught between the lead group in the Category 1 race and Bauer and Fua, who are the two riders behind. Now, if Bauer and Fua can catch up to the back wheel of Biarhead, we've got a group of 3 riders who can work together here, and 3 class riders who can work together to bring that group back. So Biarhead, Bauer and Fua, the 3 riders we are looking at here in this Category 1 race. This is the chase here, and they are chasing the lead group in that Category 1 race. Now, further down the field, this is the lead group in the Category 3 race, and we've got Fioroni, Ribaldo and Higuita. Alessia Antico is there as well. 4 riders in this Category 3 race coming up on this steep section after the bridge over the water, which is where we saw the riders start from earlier on today. So Antico, Higuita, Fioroni and Ribaldo pushing on up and over this bridge, coming on to the back of our Category 4 race, and it is indeed Gallego who they are coming on to the back of, and Paolo as well. So coming up onto the back of these 2 Category 4 riders are our 4 leaders in the Category 3 race as they go over and go past. So one more lap to go of the Wollongong City Circuit now for those riders. So our Category 4 leaders a little bit further down the road, but they are not a long way. 500 metres now separating the front of these 2 race fields. So 500 metres separating Category 4 and Category 3 is indeed a strong ride from our Category 4 riders still out front. So 40 minutes now nearly gone for our Category 4 race field, nearly 35 minutes for our Category 3 race field as Pablo continues to push on. Pablo has been there since the start. She's got Barco Ossa for company and Gonzalez, as well as Agudelo. These 4 riders have been working together and working together strongly. In fact, actually there seems to be a little bit of a gap now back as we continue to see Pablo, the one pushing on at the front. So the gap is coming down, and it's now coming down quite quickly because Ribaldo, Antico and Higuita are continuing to push on. Look at the difference in pace. We've got 49.50 kph coming out of the Category 3 riders. Our Category 4 riders currently at 33 kph at the moment. So Pablo there pushing on. It's not going to be long until these riders see that Category 4 lead riders on the road in front of them. So Fioroni is pushing on. She's pushing on hard at the moment. Ribaldo cannot go with her. Neither can Higuita. So Fioroni is the rider pushing on. She is pushing on hard here. And this is a break for the win in that Category 3 race. Now, looking back at our Category 1 race field, this is the corner that kicks, and it kicks hard. This is where we sometimes see attacks. We've got 3 riders going clear at the moment. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 riders with a rider a little further back. This could be a 6-woman breakaway in this Category 1 race field. It's Sakamoto, Estrada, Menendez, Quevedo in that group. They are about to come onto the back of Angie Parra, Lisa Hermanson as well, excuse me, as Agudelo. So these riders working hard and working strongly. Now, can these 3 Category 2 riders stay with this leading Category 1 pack, even if for a short time, to get a little bit of a respite and a little bit of a tone? Well, I'd be amazed if they can, because Sakamoto has just come flying past, and we can see Hermanson putting in a big kick at the moment to try and stay there. But Sakamoto and Menendez are on fire at the moment and wanting to stay clear of the rest of that Category 1 race field. Now back to our leaders on the road, and Fioroni has indeed gone over the top of the Category 4 front of the pack. So Gonzalez, Pablo are the Category 4 riders here, and it's Fioroni now who is out and out as the lone leader on the road at the moment. So it's Alessia Antico who is doing the chasing. Now this is a normal position for these two riders. Fioroni pushes on, Antico chases. Will Fioroni stay out for the win, or will Antico catch her? Now Antico is being joined here by the rest of this group, so Higuita and Ribaldo, the other two Category 3 riders, along with the 5 Category 4 riders here today. So Fioroni's gap is now 15 seconds, but there is still 15 kilometres of racing left. So still a lot of racing under these wheels to go, and we will see if Fioroni can stay out there. So our Category 2 race field now coming up for the 20-kilometre mark. You can see they are around 1.3 kilometres behind our leaders on the road. So they are also catching our riders. So it's looking like at some point in the next progression through Wollongong City, we will see our Category 2 race field join our Category 4 and Category 3 race field, who are currently the leaders on the road at the moment. It's Fioroni who is out front as we flip back in to see what is happening in this Category 1 race. Now it's looking like Bauer has indeed made connection with this group. So Bauer is back in the group with Sakamoto. We've got Category 2 riders in here as well. So Hermansen is in here, Quevedo, Brogan, Strada is in here. We've also got Agudelo, a Category 2 rider in this group, and we've got a number of riders looking strongly. So 2 Category 2 riders in this group, 6 Category 1 riders. Now, the catch made at a particular time on a particular part of the course, a pretty flat section of the course, which is what has allowed those Category 2 riders to stay in that group. Where we saw riders caught on Mount Pleasant, it just was not possible because the power differentials are so different. Now, as we watch this group of riders come round this bend and onto the bridge into Wollongong City, I'm going to take a quick pause because Matt Payne has joined me fresh from the men's race and the end of that men's race. And while he recharges himself by plugging his headphones in, we're just going to take a short break. So I'm joined in the studio now by Matt Payne. It's great to have him with us for the rest of the women's race today. Hot from the finish of the men's race. I'm assuming, Matt, no spoilers. It was fast and furious at that finish as well today.
Today's finish, if possible, I'm not sure it was possible, but it was even better than last week. It was an absolute flyer. If you haven't watched last week's racing, go back and watch it on the YouTube channel, on Twitch. If you can't restrain yourself, give it a watch this week. It's brilliant to see, and some amazing racing, some fantastic riding, and it's looking like this group are really flying fast, Emma. Whereabouts on the course are we? How far have we got?
Well, we've got some great racing in the women's race today across all 4 categories, Matt. You have missed an amazing first half of this race, but you do join us for the second half. So all 4 categories now with 1 lap to go on this Wollongong course. Everybody has come under what will be the start banner for the last time until they see the checkered flag. So they have the rolling lands of Wollongong City. They have 1 more ascent of Mount Pleasant, and then they have that run in for the finish. Now, Category 3 have already caught Category 4. Category 2 are around 1 kilometre from catching the Category 3, Category 4 mixed group. In fact, you can see on the screens in front of you. And our Category 1 race field have a couple of Category 2 riders in tow. So Cat 1 at just shy of 20k, Category 2 at 22.5k. Category 3 is our leader on the road, Fioroni, at 24 kilometres, and the Category 4 leaders at 23.5.
Wow. Okay, so we've already got that catch. We've got the move gone off the front. Great to see Carla Fioroni leading the race out. Somebody who's been really aggressive and attacking race. And I'm guessing that's really to do with the course that we're on. We're on Wollongong. We all know, if anyone who's watched or raced, that course profile is so sorted. It's got lots of shorter, steeper, really aggressive climbs. And that really translates into a frantic race. But we also see sprint finishes, which is just almost counterintuitive.
Well, it's really interesting, isn't it, Matt? Because taking a look on the right-hand side of the screen at the moment, this Category 2 race field, take a look at that. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 riders in that leading group at the moment. And they pretty much went up Mount Pleasant for the first time as a leading group. So really strong group of riders in Category 2 here. Reynard, Sinelli, Pardini, Olsen, Hadlock. Sanchez is in here as well, going past and picking up these Category 4 riders on a less steep section at the moment. Now, in the Category 1 race field, we saw a split over the top of Mount Pleasant, and it was one of those rides where a couple of riders had just got caught out as they went over the top and did not make the group on the downhill section. And that is why we've got such a small group of Category 1 riders at the moment, Matt, which I think is going to lend to some interesting racing for the finish.
It does indeed. And that split, it's such a knife-edge profile on the top of the climb. There's no chance to recuperate. If you're not on a wheel, if not, in fact, I mean, I would normally say you can't afford any gap. But for me, almost on this Wollongong circuit, at the top of Mount Pleasant, you've almost got to be overlapping half a bike to stay in. And if you're not overlapping, you are going to get distance because of that break. Because 1 minute you're doing 8k an hour, and the next minute you're doing 48k an hour, you know, just literally within a fraction of a second. And that really is telling. And I'm surprised that our riders got caught out by that to some degree, given how often we ride on Wollongong and how often it is decisive over the top in terms of making and losing groups.
Well, you know, one of the things I didn't look at today was when the last time we were actually in Australia and in Wollongong, but we have been racing in Arabia for some time, you know. So it is really interesting to come back to this course and see the riders get caught out. Now, 6 riders clear in this Category 1 race field, Matt, which is, I think, a much smaller field than I was expecting at this point in the race. Is this what you were expecting to come into?
No. I'll be honest. I've watched the racing on Wollongong since it was first launched, since the Australia route came out, since the World Championships. And we've seen this type of racing predominantly in the men's race, but not in the women's race. The women's race has been bigger groups together. But one thing that I'll say, having watched the men's race and the running over that as a set of races has become more and more aggressive. It has had more constant racing with less pauses in it as we've moved not just towards the end of the finals but in towards the championships. And I think there is the MyWhoosh championship factor. It's a new thing. It's the MWCF, and the MyWhoosh championship factor is that the racing will become more and more aggressive. People will want to race the course in its entirety, actually under pressure and at race pace, because I can ride up a climb nice and easy and it'll feel okay. But the moment you take me onto my limit, I'm going to think it's the most disgusting, evil climb in the world ever.com. The Dr. Evil of climbs just has appeared because you're on your limit. And knowing, and I would ride it totally differently. And that is because you've got to ride on the race. And I think we're seeing the MWCF, MyWhoosh Championship Factor, taking its effect in the women's racing as well. Because we are starting to see more and more racing all the way through the race, and it's not allowing groups to come back. We're not seeing regroups, we're seeing splits and no regrouping, and we're seeing the category 1 coming on quicker. They're using that power more on the way through. I think I mean, I'm quite happy to be wrong, but it's got to have a factor when there's so much money at stake. There's pride at stake, and I'll be honest, I would love to be racing in the championship, because a stage race like that, to race a stage race like that on the road would have been my sort of childhood dream. Now it's to race it on MyWhoosh, because it's such a great format, and this is how you get good, because you race on the Sunday Race Club and race the terrain.
Well, I think day after day we are going to see different tactics on different courses, aren't we? And I think those courses are going to play out in a different way. Now, today's course is only 35 kilometres. I say only 35 kilometres because the MyWhoosh Championships for the women will be held over 50 kilometres. And I think that's going to bring a different element to the racing as well, as we see all 6 of these Category 1 riders come back together again. Do you think riders are using the Sunday Race Club to try out different tactics, Max, as well?
Yes, it would, without a doubt. I think that is something that, having watched the women's race last week, we were seeing that different riders trying different things. We're seeing riders who we would expect to just attack on the climb, or to go hard on the flat, to go hard on the climb, and vice versa. We were seeing riders looking at bunches. We've seen that, and that is across all the categories as well. That's not exclusive to category 1, 2, 3 or 4. All categories are doing that. Yeah,
so let's just have a little look here. So we have Bauer, Menendez, Sakamoto, Quevedo, Estrada and Cavajal are the 6 riders clear in this Category 1 race field. They are now free of the Category 2 riders who are riding in with them, and the Category 3 rider Lenore, who also sat in for a short while when they passed. So also moving up now towards the top 20 riders on the race field today. And we can see on the right hand corner of your screen, Matt, we've still got a large group of Category 2 riders, and they are about to start Mount Pleasant for the second time. So that large group of Category 2 riders all going into the red at the moment, as that gradient kicks to around 10% on the, I was going to call them the foothills of Mount Pleasant.
It's no foothill. That's more like a Wellington boot hill. That's huge. It goes, it is a proper climb in its own right. We've got courses where this would be the final climb, this first kicker, but we then drop and give away the height. My least favourite thing in the world ever, just about after the Dr. Evil climb. You go up, you then lose most of your height, and then you go back up. I always hated that racing. You go into it, you climb, you just about hang on, you go in the dip, and then it goes all over again. You've not just got to make with the rest of the climb, but it's half the climb that you've already done, and that can be really demoralizing if you're having a bad day. So you could be fighting on the wheel, and losing ground now is absolutely a no-no if you want to stay on. If you're at the front, you're pushing, you're seeing how hard you can make it. If you're in the back of this group, you're going to be chewing that stem, you're going to be looking at that wheel, you're going to be focused on giving it everything, whilst trying not to put too much in and go flying through the group.
Well, I'll tell you who's having a good day, because Reynald Kekkonen, Berio Cerner, Pardini, Jenny Sanchez and Morgane Olsen, as well as Havelock, are the riders in this group. And really great to see Jenny Sanchez in the lead group here. Now, normally we see at this point in the race Manuela Sanchez, but Manuela Sanchez, an absolute expert in the longer climbs. Jenny Sanchez is the one who attacks, and I think this Wollongong course suits her much, much better than the courses in Arabia.
Yep. Can I give you one word answer? Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I think we're going to see this. So Jenny Sanchez holding really strongly through that first part of the climb. Let's see how she does in the second part, because this is more reminiscent of those longer climbs. Got a steep start, levels, eases even more, then kicks again, and this is going to really find people out. This group is absolutely cracking group. It's a who's who of category 2. I really identify with category 2 because, to be honest, if I was racing, I'd probably wouldn't be category 1, I would be category 2. And I look at this and I think, this is the sort of racing I would absolutely love, because you know who you're racing against. These names we see week after week after week, battling it out, different terrain suits different people. Brilliant to see, and that's true of all of our categories. I mean, look at this. We've got Barcarossa in here, who we know is going to be up against Pablo. You've got category 3 out there. You've got people like Fioroni, Antica, Ribaldo, Higuita. They're names that we use week after week because they are battling it out against each other.
Well, talking about battling it out against each other, our category 2 leaders now working their way into the top 10 on the road today, because they are now coming up on the back of this category 4, category 3 mixed group, and it's Fioroni, Carla Fioroni, who is 1 minute down the road. She is our lead rider on the road today, and our category 2 race field, being led by Pardini and Olsen, are now working their way through this chase group of category 4 and category 3 riders. So coming up to the top of Mount Pleasant for the final time is the lead in our category 3, our category 4 and our category 2 race field. It's interesting to see the catch here made on the climb for the category 2 riders. Matt, your thoughts about when the category 1 riders might make the catch?
The spiral probably would be my guess. It's a bit of a guess because I've not seen how they've done on the alternate parts of the course. But realistically, I would have thought on the spiral, just looking at that category 1, to me the pressure's come off it a bit. It's eased off. They've got that group. They may not even make it, if I'm brutally honest, to get across. And that is quite simply just because of the way that they are riding. I'm not sure that they actually will make the catch, because from the top of the summit back, it's 6.2, I think, kilometers to the finish from the summit. So that's not that far, and everybody's going to be racing for the finish. Nobody's going to be sat there just twiddling the thumbs. They're all going to want to give it some, and that's when you're really going to pull it. In fact, if you're taking an easy turn, certainly in a bunch, and now, of course, because on MyWhoosh you can talk to each other, I'd be giving it some serious verbal. It's probably a good job we don't have a microphone in the bunch if there were people taking it easy, because I would be giving them serious earful, because this is about now going for the finish and not getting caught. It doesn't matter whether the prizes are in each category as they are or not. You want to be the first over that line, and you want to be giving it some, and you want to be breaking it. At Kekkonen, I mean, a great to see Noveline Kekkonen. One of the very first races I commentated on MyWhoosh, she was right up there on the climb of the Jebel Hafid, where we've been with the men today. Absolutely brilliant ride by her, and still in there in the mix and battling it out. It's brilliant to see people riding and getting quicker and quicker and stronger with the platform. It's a great to see. And again, Carla Fioroni, I mean, right hand side of the screen here, we've got our top rider on the course itself, out in front, 29.8k. It's, you know, it's there. She's got a chance of staying clear. She can't afford to relax too much, and she won't want to give away first prize to Ribaldo or Antico or Higuita, who are coming and are going to see the leaders. In fact, I think they're on the way down now in category 2. And if I was a category rider racing against Fioroni, I'd be jumping in with category 2 now and sitting in those wheels.
Well, I think they are going to try. I cannot imagine Ribaldo, Higuita or Antico are not going to try and take a toe off that category 2 race field, but they are coming, and they are coming fast onto Fioroni. There is about 400 meters now separating this chasing lead category 2 group from Fioroni, who is the rider who is in the lead on the road today. But there are also 6 riders in this category 2 pack, Matt, and just 5 prizes. So prizes today going to 5th place for individuals in each of the 4 categories today. So no team prizes, but 5 individual prizes per category up for grabs.
Now, one of the really interesting things you've just seen there, Ribaldo gets caught, goes off. Gets caught, goes off. And that is because these riders don't normally ride together. You've got riders who don't normally ride in this category, that don't know quite the pace that they're rolling. Now, I'll be honest, Carla Fioroni. You need to keep on going, Carla. I'm rooting for you here. We don't have favourites, but I love an attacking rider. Same with Ribeiro. She's gone off the front here. What does she do? Does she ease? Does she not? Carla Fioroni needs them to hesitate behind. She needs this indecisive. Are we going to chase? Are we not going to chase? Needs that sort of not quite knowing what each other's doing bit. Carla, get your head down, girl. Come on. This is where it counts. You've got to make it. It's less than 4K to go. Less than 4,000 meters. I can ride 4,000 meters. You can race this and take this overall win. Come on.
Oh, she might have 4,000 meters left till the finish line, but she's only got 150 meters. If she could turn her head, she would see Ribaudo 150 meters behind her. Luckily, I think there's a corner in the way at the moment, but Ribaudo's got Pardini bringing the group back to her. Higuita is helping out as well, because Higuita is the one who is going to benefit from that category 2 pack, catching Ribaudo and Fioroni if she can hang in there, as well as Alessia Antico.
I tell you something, Ribaudo is doing so much work out here. She's been left out to dry on the front pretty much. Higuita, I wouldn't be closing this down. Sit in the wheels, girl. Sit in those wheels. Don't do anything. Let the Category 2 bring you up to Ribaudo, and then go. Then put the kick in. And I tell you something, Alessia Antico is spending less time on the front. It may be that she is playing the smart game here of the two. Could be Higuita, of course, is feeling super strong. It's going to be her day. Great racing in categories there in Category 2 and in Category 3.
Well, back in Category 1, they are coming towards the top of Mount Pleasant, the second time up our Category 4 climb, and it's Brogan, Sakamoto, Quevedo who is in there. Estrada is still in there too, so Cavajal's there as well. So this group not really split up yet. There's still 6 riders in this leading group, so 6 riders in the leading group in the Category 1 race, still pushing, but pushing together. No real attack coming up this climb. Again, they're going to leave it to that 6.2 kilometer run in, and if they are not careful, I'm taking a little bit of a look back down that field, I think that's Jojo Bauer.
Oh, dangerous moment.
It is indeed. It is Jojo Bauer. She is 12 seconds back. Now, can she close? Whoa, I think they're listening, because the numbers have gone red. The numbers have gone red because I've mentioned Bauer, and they are coming to the top of that climb to go over the top as Estrada, Brogan, Cavajal go over the top. Bauer hasn't made contact yet, but can she make contact before the finish line?
Well, the problem she's got now is this group is going to pick up pace and pick up speed on the way down. As a solo rider, I mean, of all the riders, Jojo Bauer could be there. Jojo, I know you have had, she's been not so good because she was in an accident with the car and was out of action, but she's back, and hopefully she's going to get reinvigorated by racing here today. And normally I say no problems at all for Jojo. Today may be a problem because I think she's got a lot of work to do that, but she's going to benefit. This group have really been, come on Jojo, this is where it counts. She's over the top, but look at the time gap. That group accelerated up and have stretched out their lead here, and now Jojo Bauer's got to come up to speed solo. Good to get a run out prior to the finals next week, but I don't know whether Jojo Bauer's got enough. I mean, absolutely class rider, but can she make the finish? Not sure she's going to catch them by that point in time.
I think there is still 5.5 kilometers to go, and it's going to depend very much on how much these riders look at each other and how much cat and mouse they play. And I think that's going to be absolutely telling for whether Bauer can get back on. But these 6 riders in this Category 1 race leading now, coming up for 30 kilometres of a 35-kilometre race. On the right-hand side of your screen, look at the distance that's different here, Matt. So coming up for 33.5 kilometres is this Category 2 and 3 race field.
You can just see this group here. They are still chasing Carla Fioroni, who is down the road. Fioroni we've seen week in, week out, getting better and better. Fioroni leading, then it's Bardini. And the group behind the Category 2 riders leading the charge. But Antico and Higuita are still sat in there. If I was Carla Fioroni, when you watch the coverage, if you haven't watched Amstel Women's Race or Amstel Men's Race, watch them. Honestly, some of the best racing you will ever see. One of my favourite races. this is a bit like that. You're cursing the bikes, the motorbikes getting in the way, and it's a group are there, and this is what's causing the mix. Pardini is now charging off, but she's broken the elastic to the group, and this is causing jumps up and down. The time gap, though, to Pardini has come down 20 seconds, but they're going to run out of road if they're not careful.
Well, I think that's going to be the issue, because I think they may well run out of road. So 200 metres now separating Pardini and the chasing group, with Carla Fioroni, who is the rider out front. And Fioroni has literally just sat on a time trialling effort all the way now. As she starts to get onto the bridge now, she will know she is in the run in to the finish now. So Fioroni comes around that right hand corner, she's on the bridge over the water. The gradient is going to start to kick up in front of her. She's going to go over the brow of the hill, and then she is going to see the finish banner. So Fioroni on her final run in to the finish.
Here she comes. This is the final kick here. Come on, Carla, let's make this count. They're coming behind her. Can they come quick enough? They're on the way in. Carla Fioroni's on the climb. They're chasing behind.
They are indeed chasing behind, and it's Karana and Pardini who are chasing behind. Olsen is there and Kekkonen. They are pushing hard, and Fioroni's avatar takes a look over her shoulder. She can see them coming. She's got 9 seconds, but they are about to come over the brow of the hill. We can see Fioroni in the distance. It's how fast can Pardini and Ribaldo push? How fast can Fioroni get to that finish line? So Fioroni continues to push. She's got Olsen on her heels, Kekkonen and Pardini. Higuita is there as well. But Fioroni, I think, is going to make this. I think Carla Fioroni, with an amazing effort, is going to take the win for Category 3. And she's first rider on the road, with Olsen, Kekkonen and Karana in the Category 2 race coming in behind.
Getting, I love an aggressive attacking ride. It's probably a good job you can't see the camera in the studio because I'm not sure the sound, the acoustic treatment in the studio is designed for me bouncing off the ceiling. I tell you something, Category 1 have got some racing to live up to. What a finish there! Can you imagine being on the front and having that chase behind and knowing they were coming? I mean, it was millimeters at the end. Oh, great ride and a great chase down. I'm really looking forward to seeing that result.
And we see now Sakamoto is riding here. We've got 4 riders here. That little kick up round that flyover has made a difference to this group of 6. Estrada, Sakamoto, Brogan and Carvajal are the riders in leading now in this Category 1 race. Just a small gap back, but not far. And I think that group is all going to come back together now. They are on the final stages and on the final run-in. They are 2.5 kilometres now to go. So 2.5 kilometres for our Category 1 race field.
Well, what a finish on the way through there. Let's just have a little bit of a check. It is going to be Olsen from, I think, Karana, from Kekkonen, then Pardini, Berrio, Serna, Hadlock and Sanchez coming through in Category 2. But look at this. This is the next finish coming up on the right-hand side of your screen. This is Category 4, Emma. And again, we're going to be treated. We said it was a sprint finish regularly. We're seeing that, but maybe not in the same way that we would expect.
No, well, we may have seen 11, 12 riders come across the line previously in Category 1 and Category 2 on this finish. But we are being treated today to sprint after sprint after sprint. This is the Category 4 race lead coming in now, and it is Pablo pushing on up this climb. She has been absolutely the creator of the action in this Category 4 race today. So as Pablo pushes on, the finish banner is going to come into sight. She has got her Barco Ossa behind, but Barco Ossa has also got company as this group continue to push. It's going to be Pablo, I think, who's going to take the win in the Category 4 race. It is indeed, as Pablo goes through first. Barco Ossa, Agudelo are going to race it out for second and third, and Terry Tandingen is looking like she's going to take fourth.
Well, great finishing again, and Madeline Pablo taking that early jump, really going hard, very early on to get that gap and to really push on home. And that was rewarded. I mean, you look at the time gaps coming in through. I make that about 6 seconds at the line there between Pablo and Barcarossa, but Barcarossa against Agudelo, I mean, there was nothing in that. Then Terry Tandigan, another regular rider coming in. So categories 4s, 3 and 2 treated us to some fantastic sprint finishes. This is going to be the fastest riders on the road. The category 1 have been absolutely fine. This group, they are still together. Any sign of Brogan? Yep. Any sign of Bauer? Nope, not made contact. So Jojo Bauer just about a 1 minute behind, not been able to make contact. She closed right down on that climb. The winner is going to come from this. Any favourites before we get into these final meters, Emma?
This was a group of 6, Matt. If you remember going into the flyover, it is now a group of 5. Cavajal has been broken from this group. So we have 5 places and 5 riders. But which order are they going to come in? That is going to be the question. And there is 800 metres to sort that out.
I know.
You know, do you?
No.
You've already seen.
I've got my predictions.
Matt's seen the finish as Menezes takes the lead out over the bridge. Sakamoto is going as well. Brogan and Quevedo are there. These 5 riders sweeping onto the bridge. They're coming over the water. They're going to take this right-hand turn and see the climb to the finish line in front of them. It is a line-up of who's who. They are all capable of taking this win. Menezes is the rider who kicks first, and she's kicking hard at 13 watts per kilo. Has she gone too early? Can the others take her? Quevedo is the rider pushing on with Estrada and Brogan. Sakamoto is the one at the back. This is absolutely going to be an epic finish here. Can Menezes hold Quevedo? So can Menezes hold Quevedo? She's still holding 11 watts per kilo. Quevedo is coming, but Quevedo is coming strong. It is running out of road as Menezes is looking like she's going to take this. So Menezes is your winner, followed by Karrup Quevedo. Brogan in 3rd. What a ride from our Category 1 women. Absolutely rounding out all 4 categories today.
Great riding. I mean, Jessenia Menezes holding off my prediction, which was Karrup Quevedo, because she has got a phenomenal sprint, but she got a timing absolutely spot on there. And it's really interesting finish here as you come in. We've just seen Melina Cahaval go through. This, where you've got this long drag, the rise and the push over the top, absolutely critical. So great to see these riders coming through. I mean, this is this last kick in here, and let's see if she can hold off Jojo Bauer. Jojo Bauer is coming behind. I think Bauer is going to get very close indeed, but it's not going to be enough, I think, to come in at the same time.
Yeah, so Cavajal finishing now with Jojo Bauer coming across the line, and she was part and parcel of that group of 6, Cavajal, and she just got dropped at the finish. Wow, Matt, what amazing racing from all 4 of our women's categories today on the Wollongong course in Australia. It's been absolutely brilliant. Where can we find you on social media to catch up with you over the week before our final?
So you can catch up with me. It's at Matt Fixer Pain, and that is on everything from Strava right the way through to Instagram. You name it, you can catch me on there, Matt Fixer Pain.
You can catch me at Biking Emma on Instagram. You can take a look at all the MyWhoosh social media. You will find them on all platforms, or head over to the mywhoosh.com website to catch up on all the race results from today when they are verified.
And don't forget, registrations are about to close on the championships. Get those entries in. You are running out of time faster than the road was running out today in Wollongong.
From Matt Payne and myself, stay safe, enjoy your riding, and we'll see you for the April finals next week. Bye.